first, let me send my condolences to the Mcknight family. I just want to start off by saying that I went to high school with Brian Mcknight Jr. Let me know if y'all went to, any of y'all from North Carolina went to Broughton High School in Raleigh. Broughton is a school. It's kind of a weird looking school. It looks kind of like an old school castle. But anyways, one day I went into the cafeteria for lunch and I heard someone on a piano. It was a piano inside of our cafeteria. I don't know how that piano got there. Maybe Brian Mcknight put it there for his son to play. But anyway, it was definitely Brian Mcknight Jr. playing the piano, and he was actually pretty good. I was impressed because I took a few piano lessons as a kid, and it was just inspiring, and he was really good on the piano. And all, you know, the word around school was like, do you know that's Brian Mcknight, son? And at this time, I was hearing a lot of Brian Mcknight music on the radio. And he looks just like him, Brian Mcknight Jr. I never met Niko. Maybe he was in middle school or something then, but I definitely seen Brian Mcknight around school, Jr. around school all the time. So about this situation, it's so controversial because the singer Brian Mcknight, you know, very successful Grammy-winning singer, beautiful voice, has cut off his kids, and his kid Niko passed away not too long ago from cancer. And it's just disturbing. It's heartbreaking because it's like, you're so successful and you have your children and you cut them off. And a lot of it is rooted in his narcissism. Brian Mcknight, he's a colorist. He has made it clear that he has no intention of being in his kids' life that are black, that are his black kids. Now his kids that he has with his new wife, she's Hawaiian. He's definitely just made it clear that he is there for his kids, her kids. She has kids, so his stepkids and all this. And it's just, it's heartbreaking because you can see how he plays into colorism. It's tough for us as African Americans, as black, especially as black women, because a lot of times we have seen black men date outside of their race, and that's no problem. The problem is when you're bashing black women, say, oh, I'm you know, dating this race because black women are, you know, they are out of shape, or they are, you know, they don't like wearing their real hair, all of this stuff. This stuff is just, it's out of control. It's ridiculous. And it's not real. It don't, I mean, you can't speak for every single person. You can't tell me, a black man that says something like that can't tell me that he hasn't met a black woman that was in shape, hasn't met a black woman that does wear her natural hair. Just the stereotype and the hatred behind a lot of this plays into the narcissism, the hatred, and people are tired of it. People are tired of the hatred towards black women. And for Brian Mcknight to cut off his black sons, he said this is what I've heard from what I read, that his sons broke into his house one time and marked out his pictures with him and his wife or something like that. I don't know how true that is, that his sons disrespected him and his wife, and they tried to help them and all this stuff. But my thing is, you say you tried to help your sons over and over again, but their story is so different, you know, and your son ended up passing away from cancer, and the relationship was that bad that you couldn't even see your son, spend time with him, and just still try to work on that relationship, whatever it was. And he has other children, you know, he has other children before his wife, before Niko and Brian Mcknight Jr. He has other children. So what is your relationship like with your other children? I've heard something about the daughter, that she doesn't have a big relationship, a good relationship with him as well, which is sad. So that means you're the problem. The thing about narcissists is narcissists can be racist, colorist, sexist. You'll see all of this you know, these behaviors dealing with narcissists. Like, they just have this thing with them, you know, prejudices, you know, against different groups. And this is showing a lot with Brian Mcknight. It's unfortunately because he has like this beautiful angelic voice, but for him to be such a terrible parent, and it's just like, how can you support this person with behavior like this, you know? But I've heard some of Brian Mcknight Jr.'s music, as well as Niko, and they are pretty good. And it's sad because if your dad that successful, he could have, you know, opened doors for you all. Y'all could be in the music industry. At least the way the music industry is today, we love to hear talented people. And look at what do you call him? The dude from Boys to Men. He has his kids out here singing, you know. I watch look at some of their content sometimes, but if he can do that, what could Brian Mcknight have done for his sons? He could have definitely helped them get into the music industry, sharpen their skills more, since he has so much experience musically. And it's just sad for him to have that much hatred towards his children. I mean, I know the Bible does say something about kids honor your mother and your father be obedient, but at the same time, if Brian was not treating mom right, of course the kids are not going to tolerate that. Not all these kids are going to side with their dad just because, you know, he has money, or just because, you know, he doesn't like mom. Some of these kids have enough sense to understand who's right and who's wrong, and they sided with mom. Obviously, you know, she has a story to tell out there. She went on Tasha K and did an interview, and I'm glad she came out to speak and tell her story. But she's been through a lot with that relationship. But it's so sad because, you know, had they had been in the industry, they could have been successful. And I think Brian Mcknight Jr., I think he has a kid or two now. Just think how he could have done for his kids being that successful on that level, or just literally just his dad supporting him basically in the music industry. But that hatred is disgusting and it's disturbing, and just looking at it, I don't see how like anybody can support this artist after that, knowing how they are. It's just terrible.